your quick reaction to what happened with the Iran situation, and what is your make of it? Because it could have been a major complication geopolitically and economically for China.
Well, in the last couple of years here in China, when I talk to a lot of CEOs and chairmen, there's been so much going on in the world in the last couple of years. But I think that, in the corporates in China here, I would say that they've been very desensitized to things going on in the world. I think the domestic economy continues to chug on at a kind of moderate pace. I think that, people are all conservative, but they've gotten used to this level, kind of what's going on in the world. I think tariffs came by, wars came by, and I think that people are kind of living their lives, right? So in many ways, right, when we sit here in Tianjin and the weather is so hot as it is right now, I feel like corporates in China are so used to the world going around in circles, right? But in some ways, like, they are now very resilient, right, to all these changes. So not a big yawn, but I would say that they are also not freaking out, right, as things goes on around the world today.
So they're not freaking out over the trade situation and the negotiations that it's engaged with U.S. at the moment? I mean, it was eye-watering level of tariffs that we're talking about.
It was. And, the most surprising thing that I found was, in many ways, many multinationals were all trying to figure out, like, what do I do with this new tariff situation and all the things going on? But Chinese companies, right, which should be at the heart of all of these, maybe because of the last couple of years of training, right, they have been, I would say, much more calm through all of these, right? Of course, there are impacts. For example, there was a lot of kind of front-loading in the last couple of months, right? There's a little bit of uncertainty right now. People are all delaying CapEx decisions. So, of course, it's all there, yeah? But in many ways, I think people are so used to a world that's going to be a lot more volatile. So in many ways, I would say that, they look at this and say that, well, that has been going on for the last several years already. So what's new?
Okay. So what is your advice at the moment? Just sit tight after some front loading, see how the negotiation is playing out?
I think sitting tight is not a viable strategy in China. I think that there are so many changes in competition. So I would say that in the last few years, I've seen Chinese companies actually diversifying quite a lot. In many ways, Chinese companies kind of trying to figure out in the global world, like, where else are good markets for them. I think has been an ongoing trend.
Yeah.
I would say since probably 4 or 5 years ago. So if you look at the trade corridors right now, right, the fastest growing ones, China, ASEAN, China, LATAM, China, Middle East, right, China, Africa. I would say that the trade routes, right, and these trade corridors have been growing actually already, and that's been a 3, 4, 5 year trend.
Okay.